Then you go get the ticket. You might want to be the first one. Okay.
A list of names of people who want to
Yes.
see the video.
Yeah. Here, I'll give you a proper list.
Welcome everybody to the first meeting of spring for First Canadian Toastmasters. I'm Art Pollard, President of Canada's oldest and certainly fastest growing Toastmasters Club. We come every week to a laboratory on public speaking. We come to learn, to grow, and to achieve. I was looking through some of my Toastmasters materials over the last week, and one thing I came across was an article on basic Toastmasters values and what Toastmasters is all about. I'd like to quote a bit of the article. Toastmasters provides people with the opportunity to build confidence and express themselves. A Toastmasters Club is a learning laboratory which gives people a chance to learn vital speaking, listening, and thinking skills, and also recognizes achievement. Through Toastmasters, people can achieve both happiness and success by acquiring the self-confidence inspired by better public speaking skills. The Toastmasters Club provides the best opportunity to develop and practice leadership skills, which in turn helps people assume leadership responsibilities outside of Toastmasters. Learning by doing within a Toastmasters Club is the best and most effective way of learning communication skills. Thoughts to think about this evening as our theme is growth. Money. I'd also like to especially thank those people who attended the area speech contest this week. Ian taking the key role as contest chairman, Peggy as chief judge, Joan as a judge, Tracy, Patty, myself, and all the others who were there to support the speech contest, because it is contest month and building up towards the World Championships in Public Speaking. At this point on the program, I would like to ask Pat Jordan to give us our inspiration.
Chairman, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Since the theme this evening is growth, I thought the following excerpt to be particularly apropos. It seems as an old joke about a fellow who was asked if he could play the violin. And he answered, I don't know, I've never tried. Now this is psychologically a very wise reply. Those who've never tried to play the violin don't know whether they can play it or not. And to say no just cuts you off from a whole world and a whole experience. In each of us, there are unknown possibilities, undiscovered potentialities. And the one big advantage of having an open self-concept rather than a rigid one is that we shall continue to expose ourselves to new experiences, and therefore we shall continue to discover more and more about ourselves. I think that's why we all joined Toastmasters, was to discover more and more about ourselves. I hope that this week at least we can say, I don't know, I've never tried, but I will soon. Thank you.
And our energetic Sergeant at Arms, I understand we have quite a few guests this evening, so I turn the introduction of guests over to you.
Fellow Toastmasters, we are lucky to have with us tonight 4 guests. I'll start with our first guest tonight, Peter Zachary. Peter is a native Victorian, which is very rare around here, it seems. He's a property manager, and he has organized a software production company in the key of the Ukraine. He's graduated the School of Business Administration. He enjoys sports, soccer, and he's into reading, and he's here, like all of us, to learn about public speaking. Would everyone please give a warm welcome to Peter Zachary. guest tonight, just dropped in for a nice evening, is Jane Buey. Jane is a retired school teacher who has raised 2 lovely children, and currently after some back surgery, she is hoping to get into some sales. She enjoys playing golf, and she's here to have a wonderful evening listening to us public speakers try to get better. Would everyone please welcome Jane Buey. Our next 2 guests, Aline Mortimer and Jennifer McCallum, will be introduced by Peggy Pepper. Peggy?
On my left is Jennifer McCallum. Jennifer is here for her second meeting. As I mentioned last week, Jennifer is an admissions officer at Throckchild College. She was last week and she still is this week. Other things you might want to know about her is she has a cat, a husband, a car. But most importantly, I think, is she must have read Pat's Inspiration. Because Jennifer came in as a guest tonight and Ian asked her if she would set up the video camera. She said, I've never done that before, but certainly, why not? So please welcome Jennifer McCallum. And to Jennifer's left, we have Aileen Mortimer. Aileen is a school teacher still at Doncaster, Aileen, at Doncaster Elementary. Aileen was a member of our club a few years back, and we enjoyed learning from her at that time, and she enjoyed learning from us. But the highlight of Lynn's stay with us as a Toastmaster was the time she brought her entire class of young people to Toastmasters. They had been learning public speaking through the Youth Leadership Program, and I have a feeling that's probably why Lynn's back here tonight. So please welcome Aileen Mortimer.
Thank you very much, Peggy, for those wonderful introductions. Our last guest tonight will be introduced by Monique Dubourg. Monique?
Last but not least, that's definitely for sure. It's my pleasure to introduce Mark Jourdain. Once again, Mark joins us for his 3rd meeting tonight and has an interesting background. He's from Quebec and ventured to Victoria about 10 years ago and enjoys it here, who wouldn't, of course, with the sun. And he's also very involved in network marketing when he's not out with the Coast Guard. Mark, a very interesting person to talk to and interesting for him to be with us. And I'm very pleased to say that he would like to join the First Canadians. So hopefully after we'll have a vote at the end. Mark Jourdain.
Thank you, Monique. We also have another person, he's almost regular here, and that's Pat. And I'm wondering if Rita might say a word about Patrick sitting beside her.
Yes, once again, Patrick Orkenheim has joined me. For those of you who haven't met him, he's the janitor 2 afternoons a week for Rogers Chocolates. And the interesting thing that's happened to him, for those of you who haven't met him before, is that his mother's returning from Japan and will be with us for about 10 days in April. So please help me welcome Patrick Orkenheim.
Thank you, Rita. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Sergeant at Arms. The next part on the program is program changes announced by our Educational Vice President, Rita Mason.
This evening we have 2 program changes. One for the business meeting, just add and induction. And down at the timer has very kindly changed from Ian, who is now cameraman, to Shirley. I think that's everything. On the right-hand side, though, for April 6th, if you'll note, I need a speech evaluator because this is our farewell dinner to John, and he will not be here next week. That's at the end of the program. Yes, is there another one, Joan?
Bill McDowell is ill and he's not here, so we need a thanks to the Toastmasters.
Do we have volunteers? Well, why don't I try that? Can you think of somebody else on it?
I missed the program change. I was trying to Jason. Could you repeat that, please?
Thanks.
thanks to the Toastmaster. The timer is Shirley,
Yeah, I'll do that.
and next week the change for the evaluation. John will not be here.
Thank you, Rita, and we're definitely going to miss John Curvin, no question. Now, we have a brief business meeting, and I will declare the business meeting open. First, I'd like to ask our membership vice president if we do have a forum to conduct the next business meeting. Thank you. And I understand our secretary is taken ill, so I'm not sure if we have the minutes of the last meeting available this evening, so we'll dispense with that. And the first item of business on the business meeting is to induct 2 of our newest members. And I'd like to ask Edwin Knight and Shirley Florence to come up and join me at election. And also Rita Mason, please. Here's your chart. Can you hear me? For the benefit of our newer members, the induction ceremony takes place after a member has completed their icebreaker. At that point, they are entitled to be inducted, and they're also entitled to receive their Toastmasters pin. It is our duty and privilege to induct 2 of our newer members into First Canadian Toastmasters Club. This is a very important occasion, both for these new members and also for our club. These individuals have come out to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication skills. We now have an opportunity to help them to learn, grow, and achieve. Shirley and Edwin, you are joining a worldwide organization that has helped over 2 million people to communicate more effectively. As members of First Canadian Toastmasters Club, you will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You will become part of an outstanding group of people who are dedicated to helping one another in a spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Madam Educational Vice President, have these new members been given an opportunity to discuss their needs and goals with the club?
Yes.
Have they been told how the Toastmasters program works?
Yes.
And also, have they been informed of the many benefits they will receive, as well as the obligations of membership? Have we had mentors assigned yet for our newest members, or are they still considering? Still considering, thank you. So I will skip over that particular part of the pledge until we have the members assigned mentors. Shirley and Edwin, membership in this club and in Toastmasters International is a privilege that carries with it many rewards, and yet it places certain obligations upon you. We are a group of people brought together to do things we could not accomplish alone. Our collective obligation is to grow and improve ourselves and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members in a spirit of enjoyment. This means you must work diligently towards your own self-development, evaluate other speeches in a spirit of support and sharing, assist the club in reaching its goals, to remain positive, and to keep above all a smile on your face. We ask you, our new members, to dedicate yourselves to personal growth, to share this great gift with your fellow members, and to help keep Club 38 strong and dynamic. Would you please turn to your fellow members and affirm the following words? I state your name. In the presence of my fellow members of First Canadian Toastmasters Club, make this firm obligation to attend meetings regularly, to prepare fully for every assignment, to apply myself to the program outlined in the Toastmasters manuals, to participate actively in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive and constructive manner,
to evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner,
to build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members,
to build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members,
and to bring new members into the club
and to bring new members into the club
so they can also gain the benefit of Toastmasters.
so that they can gain the benefits of Toastmasters.
Now, would all club members please stand and repeat after me our pledge to our newest members. We, the members of First Canadian Toastmasters, pledge to support you in your quest for self-development, to provide you with positive, helpful evaluations, to give you opportunities to help others, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, and most importantly, make your Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. At this point, I'd like to present both Shirley and Edwin with their name tags, and because they've both given speeches, and at least Edwin will be on his fifth, I'll present them with their pins and also their name tags. And welcome them to the club. That completes the induction ceremony. The next item of business on the agenda is correspondence, and we've received a letter of invitation from Mr. Sandy Robertson, who will be attending our upcoming awards dinner. But in the letter, we are also invited to attend the 40th anniversary of the Beaver Toastmasters Club. The details on that, it'll be Saturday, April the 8th, in the carriage room of the Coachman Inn. If anybody wants further details, please talk to me after the meeting. We also had notification that our Constitution that we passed quite some time ago has been accepted, and there are no problems with it. That's good. We have also received notification if we want to purchase a list of the charter members of this club, we can do so from International at the price of $7. The third item of business, I understand there was a motion that was tabled to the next business meeting related to the Toast of the Queen. Now, the floor is open for all business.
You just bring that motion back.
Okay, we bring the motion back. I don't have a copy of the motion with me. That's why I was hoping the mover of that particular motion.
Doesn't have a copy with me. Let's just suffice it to say, debating whether or not we should have a toast of the queen.
Okay, I will reopen or put the item back on the table for discussion. The motion was to remove the Toast of the Queen from the agenda. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the issue?
Mr. Chairman, if I recall correctly, the motion was not quite that simple. I believe that it was to include a toast, and there's also the Toast of the Queen, and then I recall moving division of the question so that we debate the two individually. So if you would like us to debate whether we handle the Toast of the Queen first and the other second, that's up to you.
As parliamentarian, I respect your advice, and I will take it. We will debate on the removal of Toast of the Queen. Does that require a mover and a seconder?
No, the motion was moved, it was seconded, and then division of the question was made and passed. And that we have agreed to divide the question for our fellow members. What we've agreed to do is talk about this in two parts. If you like A and not B, then you can vote that way. If you like A and B, then you can vote that way. So the two parts are that we have a toast as part of our program, and That's my understanding. Is that the understanding of the original mover?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Forgetful?
As I recall, we had not decided about how we were going to exactly split the question. And I feel that I could rescind the whole motion and make a new motion, but how about I just try to say, I move to eliminate mandatory toast to the Queen. That if, and if I may, no, I disagree.
Mr.
Madam
Chairman,
Parliamentarian.
I'm sorry, but I'm glad that the comments got out because then we have an understanding of what's going on, but technically you can't do that. It was moved, it was divided, it was seconded, so it just has to be debated the way it was.
So shall we deal with the toast of the Queen being removed?
Yes.
Is there a seconder to that motion?
There's no need for a
No.
seconder. It's open for
It's
discussion at
open
this
for
point.
discussion. Would somebody like to speak to that particular motion? Joan?
I rise against the motion. I'd like to see the toast to the Queen kept in. This is a traditional club. This was debated fairly well in table topics last week, I believe it was, and I feel from that debate that the majority of the club members wanted to keep the toast to the Queen in our program. Therefore, I think we should call for the question fairly quickly.
Is there anybody else who wishes to address the issue? Is there anyone else who wishes to address the issue?
Question?
Call for question. Those in favor of keeping, oh, sorry, the other way around. The motion is phrased negatively. Those in favor of the motion, which is that we remove the toast of the Queen from the program, raise their hand. Okay, those opposed to the motion? Motion carries.
No, defeated.
All right, motion is defeated. Okay. In the interest of eliminating confusion in the future, I would suggest the motions be phrased in a positive manner.
Mr. Chairman, as a parliamentarian, that was phrased in a positive manner. It was phrased that we positively eliminate. A negative manner would be not eliminate.
Okay, but that would be a double negative then.
No, it wouldn't be.
To deal with the second part of the issue. Oh, I'm sorry, did the naysayers wish their extension or their votes noted in?
Say nay, say yes.
You voted for it.
The yes, there is.
Not, I didn't see you.
Lee, do you want to be noted?
Mr. Chairman, is those opposed who should have their names recorded, not those in favor?
Okay. Does anybody who opposed the motion wish their names would be noted? Good. Okay. Second part of the motion, can we stand to drop the toast as part of the program? Is that correct?
The second part of the motion, Mr. Chairman, and I wish to speak to it. So it has been suggested that we include a toast on our program. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, are we not Toastmasters? Therefore, we either bring toast or we make a toast. And I suggest that we make a toast each and every meeting. And I have been a member of a club where that was the standard, and it's a great experience. And you will find that once you've been in Toastmasters a long time, when you go into another organization, one of the things you're often asked to do, the most commonly asked to do, is give a toast. And I hope that we can teach you how to do that here. So I am strongly in favor of including a toast on our program.
Is there further discussion? Rita?
With so many members, no, Mr. Chairman, with so many members, start again. Mr. Chairman, I would like to speak in favor of the motion in that as your NDP, we now have many roles to fill, and I think it would not only enhance the program, but would give members another chance to speak.
Is there any further discussion on the issue? Those in favor of including a toast, additional toast as part of the program, would you please raise your hand? Any opposed? Motion carried. Is there any new business before the club this evening? Ian?
Mr. Chairman, I move that Those who don't wish to toast the toast, stand, but don't take a drink.
Mr. Chairman, I call for orders of the day.
Ian, orders of the day have been called, and when I hear the call for orders of the day, I often take a sigh of relief. I wasn't going to comment about French toast because I can make French toast, but I'm not sure if that's the toast that Peggy was talking about. So I will declare the business meeting adjourned, and we'll defer your business to our next business meeting, which is next week. So if you submit that in writing, the member of the executives will be happy to consider that for you. Thank you all for your participation in the business meeting. I would now introduce Bill Down, who will be introducing our Toastmasters this evening.
Mr. Chairman, guests, fellow Toastmasters. It's a unique privilege to introduce Ms. Monique DeBoers, our Toastmaster this evening. And I checked with Monique in terms of how she would prefer to be addressed as a business. Now, Monique's theme, if you will, is that of growth. And she has done big time into growth. Monique has seen Victoria grow since she came here at age 2 from Holland. She has grown in her personal knowledge. She has pursued successfully a degree course at UVic and has aspirations to get back and obtain a master's degree. She has grown in terms of her experience in the working world, 7 years in the radio industry. She is growing in terms of accountability. She has started her own business, a focus on Patty. She'll distribute cards to them to meet. In terms of personal growth, I gather this is one of her aims in joining Toastmasters. And in my time here, I've not seen anyone who has devoted herself more to that goal, nor anyone who has achieved more. She's a model for all of us. So would you join with me in welcoming our Toastmaster of the evening, Monique DeBoers.
I turn control of the meeting over to you, Monique. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Bill, for that wonderful introduction. And welcome everyone to the Seasons of Growth, the Toastmasters meeting. A self-professed gardener once said, when things look the least alive, that is when the most growth is taking place. The growth is happening under the surface. And I think that's true for gardens, when you look around, and it's also true for people. On the 21st of March, about 10 days ago, spring officially began. And just like the growth and change of the seasons, we all move through cycles of personal growth. And I'm sure you've all experienced times when it looked like nothing was going on. It was kind of slow, nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden, a flurry of activity, and everything seems to be going on all at once. And you just can't find time to sit down and relax. The process of personal growth can be as fascinating as it is frustrating. We develop our ideas, we wait for them to blossom, we harvest the fruits of our labor, and we sit back and we reflect on the things that we've done. Psychologist Abraham Maslow developed what's called the needs hierarchy. And he proposed that all of us have one overall need, and that is the need for growth. And when all of our basic needs are met, like our needs for food, and for safety and love and self-esteem, when those things are all taken care of, we get a little restless and we start looking around and we need to grow so that need becomes stronger. And as the seasons change throughout the year, like being spring now, I always have found it difficult to choose my favorite season. I don't know if you're like that. Maybe you have a favorite season. A friend of mine loves the fall, the changing of the leaves and the colors. Another friend loves the summertime. Can't wait for it to be hot and sunny and out there doing exciting things. But I think what I enjoy most is the process of change through each season that we go through. Well, during our meeting tonight, I invite you to discover the 4 seasons of a Toastmasters meeting, 4 seasons of growth in a Toastmasters meeting. So right now it's the spring of our meeting. It's the beginning of our Toastmasters program. And like spring, in the beginning, we come with renewed ideas and fresh thoughts, and all excited to share what we have to bring to the meeting. To give us our focal point for the ideas we have, I call upon Joan Trumbull to share our word of the day.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, in keeping with the theme of growth this evening, I've chosen a relatively easy word to use, the word develop. You all see that? Develop is a verb to set forth, to make clear by degrees or by detail, to make active, to promote the growth of, to cause to unfold gradually, to expand by the process of growth, or to blossom. The inclusion of Word of the Day on the Toastmasters agenda is intended to develop our vocabulary. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Joan. I know one of the wonderful things about Toastmasters is being able to develop who we are. Of course, that noise indicates the use of the word of the day, so if you use it throughout the evening, you'll hear a rapping on the tables. I'm sure you can. One of the other wonderful things about Toastmasters is learning new things, not only new words, but about new things, and also learning about our club roles and our speaking assignments. And we also have to find that without learning, there's no growth, which is what how I like to think of it. And there's a theory that says that in human behavior, some people limit their growth subconsciously. We don't do it on purpose. We may be a successful, ambitious person, but after a while, we become comfortable with the world, and we kind of put ourselves on automatic pilot, using a lot of cliches and old habits to get through things and to do things. So it's great to challenge ourselves, especially at our Toastmasters meetings. Personal growth requires a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, which we always find at our meetings. And one of the things that will help us to become more enthusiastic and energetic is laughter. So I'll call upon our smile story tonight. We've got Shirley Florence, who has the pleasant task of making us smile. Shirley.
Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, road. Two seeds lay side by side in fertile spring soil. The first seed says, I want to grow. I want to send my roots down into the earth below. I want to spring up through the earth crust above me. I want to unfurl my buds and let I want to unfurl my tender buds like banners announcing the arrival of spring. I want to feel the warmth on me and the morning dew on my leaves. And so the seed grew. The second seed said, I am afraid. I do not want to send my roots down into the ground below. I don't know what I'll encounter in the dark. I don't want to go through the hard soil above me, because it might harm my delicate studies. What if I open my bud and the tail comes along and eats it? Or what if a child pulls me from the ground? It's better that I wait. And so, he waited. The yard hand was walking along and scratching on the ground in early spring. And looked for food. And he discovered the seed, the waiting seed. He promptly ate it. There's a moral to this story now.
Thank you, Shirley. I'm sure we can all learn from that story and try and be the seed that wants to try, wants to grow. Well, our Toastmasters program has recently grown. Not only has our room grown this evening, but we also have an addition to our Toastmasters program. And that addition is a 60-second learning bite, a chance for us to find out a little more about the rules in Toastmasters. And to help us learn and grow and be better Toastmasters, I call in Darren Marr to give us our 1-minute Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today, I wish to talk about serving table topics. Now, when you become the table topics master, there are two principles or objectives that you should bear in mind. One, table topics is an opportunity to have members practice thinking on their feet. Secondly, it gives an opportunity for all our members to speak. Now, having said that, I would like to give you 5 principles or techniques of how to conduct effective table topics. Number 1, when you select a speaker, choose those people who are not on the program first before anybody else. Secondly, when you introduce each topic, make the topic short and sweet. You'd like to maximize time for the speakers or participants to speak. Third, watch the time. If you've got a lot of participants, like say 12, consider going at 1.5-minute intervals rather than the standard 2 minutes. It's up to you. Fourth, call your respondents, but call them at random. Give them that element of surprise. Have them on their toes, waiting, making them think, am I going to be the one who will get this topic? Because that's what the essence of table topic is all about. Putting yourself in an impromptu situation where you may have to speak. And 5, be creative. Have fun. There are various ways of how to do table topics. Interactive table topics regarding poetry, table topics regarding objects. The sky's the limit. So to conclude, by keeping in mind the principles of table topics and following my suggestions, you should be able to develop and conduct an effective table topic session. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Darren. I know table topics is always quite a challenge for most of us, and being new Toastmasters or being experienced Toastmasters, it's always a great opportunity to get up and stretch those on-the-spot speaking skills. So we hope that everyone will take that opportunity a little bit later on tonight. There are 2 keys to achieving personal growth. First, and the most used way, a lot of people do this, they set goals for themselves, which is a great way to do it. But the second key is not used as much, and unfortunately so. You have to take time to review your goals and to evaluate your progress and find out how you're doing. And evaluating your progress can give you some invaluable advice and information about how you're doing, if you're going the right direction, making sure you're on the right track. Having a friend, or better still, a team of friends, to provide that feedback is a wonderful benefit. And that benefit we have here in Toastmasters. To guide us on our mission of growth by evaluation, call on Ian Woods, our general evaluator for tonight. Ian.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm slightly confused, first of all, by, is it Ms. Toastmaster or Madam Toastmaster?
Preference is.
Yes, okay, Ms. Toastmaster.
Thank you.
This evening I would like to ask, would the members of my evaluation team please put up your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what about Shirley? Don't you want to be on the team? You can be on the team. Put your hand up, Shirley. Oh, I tell you, it takes a lot of work to time. I'm going to tell her, this is her first time classroom. And tonight, here's your responsibility. Simple as this. For the speakers, it's going to be 5 minutes, and then you turn on the green light. And then when you get to 6 minutes, turn on the amber light. And finally, when you get to 7, turn on the red light and hope they don't go past 7 minutes and 30 seconds or they're disqualified. Now, there is one exception. That is that if they are an advanced speaker and they're in the advanced manual, they can speak beyond that, but they must let the timer know. Otherwise, the timer does the ordinary timing 5, 6, 7. So it's up to the speakers who are not 5, 6, and 7 to go to Shirley and say, it's going to be different, Shirley, and here it is, I'm going to write it down for you. So that is the timer's job, and we have 3 evaluators tonight, and I would like to welcome the 3 main evaluators as well as the grammarian. But I would like to say, let's look for growth, as in the most beautiful tree you've seen. Because we're all growing at the same time, the club is growing as a tree, and we're also individually growing. So let's look for growth in the person who's speaking or in the language that we're using if you're the grammarian. So, are there any questions on that from my evaluation team? Is the red light on? Should it be on? It's not my 3 minutes up.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay, so, Ms. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ian, for introducing us to all the evaluators tonight. One of my favorite things to do in spring is to head out to the garden centers. You may find me any Saturday or Sunday afternoon with a little garden wagon behind me, trying to carefully select which plants I'm going to put in the yard. And it's very difficult for me to decide because I'm always wondering, how do I take care of it? Where is it going to grow the best in the yard? What color should I get? The end result being, how's it going to look when it's all finished and when it's all blooming and blossoming? And I think that the same thing goes for our goals and our growth. We sometimes start with something very small, with the seedling of an idea, and we want so badly for that to grow and to find out what it's going to be at the end, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. We need our goals to grow, and we need to nurture them and to give them that time to develop. So we're going to give everyone a chance now to develop your on-the-spot speaking skills. I hope you take this opportunity. Our members, of course, are very encouraged to take part, and our guests are very welcome to take part. Practice your on-the-spot speaking skills. Tonight, with our table topics topic, I ask Peggy Pepper.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I see it is 6:15. Thank you very much for participating in table topics. Do I have your indulgence, Madam Toastmaster, to still continue with table topics even though it is 6:15? We're a verbal group. Yes. Thank you. Members and guests, you are all invited to participate. Guests, you are truly invited. Members, it's an invitation that you cannot turn down. As our theme has been explained thoroughly this evening, it is growth. I have chosen to stick with the aspect of personal growth. We grow personally, physically, professionally, intellectually, in relationships, and spiritually. And I wish that in Toastmasters I could grow physically, then I could see over this lecture better. But I want you to know that when I joined Toastmasters, I was still 4'11", but I felt as though I were 2'11". And all these years later, I'm still 4'11", but I sound tall on the telephone now. So there is an opportunity to grow. And you will find that I've found that over the years, with my growth in Toastmasters, I have received many letters. And I ask you to address these letters this evening. The first one goes something like this. Dear Dr. Grove, I am a very successful business person. I have no financial worries, a wide circle of friends, and a loving family. Yet I am not happy. Well, my friends tell me that I need to grow intellectually to be truly content. Is this true? I've never been a reader. please advise me. Yours truly, am I illiterate? I ask for a volunteer to advise, am I illiterate? Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Madam Puppet Master. So pleased that you gave me this question. Yes, you are illiterate. If you don't read, you must be illiterate. Because there is so much enjoyment in reading. And not only is there enjoyment in reading, there is relaxation in reading. I can't tell you the number of evenings that I have fallen asleep with a book on my chest because that's the one way that I can get to sleep. Now, I don't know whether that's because the book is boring and it puts me to sleep or whether it's just the relaxation of reading. I strongly urge I am illiterate to take up reading to enrich his life. Madam Topic Master.
Would anyone else like to advise am I illiterate on how to grow intellectually? Mark.
Well, it's been proven in the past history that every great man that ever achieved something that did change the world, like we're speaking like men on before, Abraham Lincoln, always has strong reading habits and personal growth and fairness. Reading books like Success Never Lasts, Success Never Ending, but Failure Never Is Ending, and a lot of self-growthening books that give them lots of power within. And anybody who's trying to achieve growth do realize that it's got to be happen within himself before it can happen out of himself. So showing it to the public, like any of our leaders today in the politics places, one of the popular leaders today in the politics. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Grove, thank you. You changed my life. 5 years ago, I wrote to you about intellectual growth. I have grown by. And who would like to continue that letter? Pat.
Madam Table Topics Master. You developed your growth by developing your reading skills, I am sure. In addition, you probably listened to a lot of tapes to help self-growth. You want to make a lot of money right now, go into the market of self-growth and produce a tape. A lot of money in it. A lot of people wanting them. I'll bet you that's what you did. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to continue this letter to Dr. Grove on how you have grown intellectually? Galen.
Madam Table Topics Master. I believe you learn to enjoy reading by reading to your children. And in doing so, you discovered a magical world which you did not know existed. In doing that, you started being aware of things in your life which could be magical if you thought about them in a certain manner. This is the first step to real growth, finding the magic in everything you do. And I'm very glad that you did that. Thank you.
Well, we have another letter. Dear Dr. Grove, I am a very successful business person. I have no financial worries, a wide circle of friends, and a loving family, yet I am not happy. My friends tell me that I need to grow socially in order to be truly content. Is this true? I've never been a party animal. Please advise me on how to grow socially. I am inept. Who would like to tackle that one? Bill Down.
Madam Evaluator? No, Madam but I'm improving. And I'm improving thanks to my associations and opportunities here in Toastmasters. Now, I've overdone it a little bit. That's Canadian modesty carried to extreme. You remember Mordecai Riker wrote years ago, the biggest offense you can commit as a Canadian is to be other than modest. Now, I carry that to a little extreme. I'm not inept in 1,000 words. I'm inept in a couple of words. They're improving. And one of the ways in which I'm not inept is in terms of the comfort I have standing on my feet and opening my mouth. And I can thank Toastmasters for that. Madam Table Topic Master.
Who would like to advise I am inept as to how he can improve, or she, his social growth? Chickens? There is an opportunity to develop here. Perhaps you are the one who wrote the letter to Dr. Gross saying, "Thank you, you changed my life. I have grown socially by." Darren.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, very good ploy, Peggy. You've been taking my suggestions to heart now, catching people while they're totally surprised. Anyway, I'm going to backtrack to the last letter. What can I do to improve my social life? Well, if I were to address I am inept, I'd say, join Toastmasters! Toastmasters are a great bunch of people. Not only are they there for the same thing, people there wanting to grow, but also wanting to meet other people from other walks of life, because Toastmasters has that universal appeal to people who wish to pursue growth. And when you're in a relaxed, friendly setting like this, it is not difficult to try and blend in with the crowd and socialize with your neighbors. In fact, we encourage it. Tom Peters, Harvey Mackay, two of the best-selling self-help authors in the world today, advocate joining Toastmasters as an essential building block to growth, whether professionally, academically, or socially. So, to reinforce my previous assertion, I would advise I am inept to strongly consider seeking out his or her local Toastmasters club.
Thank you. Our Toastmaster has agreed that we
Yes.
have one more.
Yes.
I wanted you to deal with how you grow spiritually, but that doesn't seem to be that important here. However, we will hear from Gordon Thompson.
Toastmasters, yes. Kierkegaard, I believe, was the philosopher that said we have to go through anxiety to overcome it. And simply he meant by that, we have to do something in order to overcome the anxiety. Socially, we have to do things that will put us in touch with people, with us in Toastmasters and any other organization, even a group of friends, to become more socially adept. If we're trying to learn to swim, we have to put our feet in. We have to get in there at some point. You can't learn to swim without thinking. I used to say to patients who are alcoholic, if you want to stop being alcoholic, stop being an alcoholic, you've got to stop drinking initially. There has to be an initial change in behavior. We have to do the things that we're afraid of doing in order to get through it. So my prescription for this gentleman is to jump in there, but to get to it.
Thank you. Of course, we care about growing in Toastmasters, both intellectually and socially, but I'm sure we also care about it spiritually. And I leave you with these words from Jonathan Swift. May you live all the days of your life as a Toastmaster.
Thank you, Peggy, for a very, yes, we had everyone springing up and growing and taking the opportunity to take part in table topics. It was great to see our guests participate as well and our newer members. And we continue that growth right now as we turn to the first member of our evaluation team to help us grow. I'd ask Bill Down to share with us his thoughts of our table topic session as our table topics evaluator. Bill.
Toastmaster, guests, fellow Toastmasters. It is indeed a pleasure to observe and comment on the development of all of the speakers this evening. Our Director of Operations for Evaluators has suggested that we pay attention to the evident growth and the opportunity for further development. Now, Joan, I felt that you accepted the unexpected challenge beautifully. And indeed, you particularly displayed excellent body language, your posture, your tone of voice, the way you made eye contact with the group of us. If I have a suggestion for further development, it's a tad more enthusiasm for your own thoughts. Mark, I admired your evident courage. You risked getting on your feet. You got your feet wet, Gordon's parlance. And you spoke from experience and from the heart, and you spoke simply and clearly. If you can develop in any way, it's in terms of a more enthusiastic call to action at the end of the presentation. Pat, gave a very clear, focused presentation, offered much good sense. In terms of opportunity for further development, some increased range and tone of voice. Kirsten. Aline, is it Aline? Aline. Finding the magic. Beautifully dealt with. Very sincere from the heart, from experience. Now, I don't know you well enough to, you presented so well, I really cannot come up with a thought on further development. But I'll be watching. Bill, modesty prevails. I'm supposed to be honest. Derek, a very good and energetic response to the challenge. Excellent. Good message. Presented with charm. Charm. If I have a suggestion for further development, is to keep the energy in your voice until the bitter end. Never to drop off a bit. Now, Gordon, excellent call to action. Emphasis on the risk. The risk is always involved in changing. And the oftener you take the risk, the more courage you have, the more you're going to grow. And again, as with some of the other presenters, Gordon, you deserve to have more enthusiasm for what you have to say. Ms. Toastmaster, turn it back to you.
Thank you, Bill. I'm sure that everyone will take your points and learn from them and grow and develop. Recognition also helps us in our moments of growth. And just to point out to everyone, you'll find in front of you a small yellow piece of paper, which is your chance to vote on your favorite table topics, your favorite speaker, which should come after a break, and your favorite evaluator, which again comes after the break. So be sure and fill that out
Queen.
I didn't get it. Well, now it's there. An 8-minute break.
Orders of the day.
Fine. Take very long for that. Before we proceed, though, I'd like to just express that we are running a little bit over time. So if that is all right with the members of the club, that the meeting will be a little bit over time. If you do have to leave right at 7:30, then that's fine. So we'll proceed with our summertime, the exciting time of the year when you try new things or when you sit back and relax and enjoy an easy hot summer day. For those of us in the audience tonight, we have the opportunity to absorb the rays of thought that come from our speakers. And for our speakers tonight, it's a chance to blossom and a chance to shine brightly and share with us the blossoming ideas that they have. My apology for the delay. We've had a little change in technical difficulties, yeah, as they say. One of the things about growing that I found fascinating is that we always need to continue to learn things in order to be productive individuals. And a person that I met a few years ago was a person who wouldn't let himself run on automatic. He was always growing. At 60 years old, after being a bus driver for 20 years, he decided, after raising his family and leading a comfortable life, that he was going to go back to university and become a pharmacist, which he did. And then he went on to open his own pharmacy and to grow in a new career, which I have, and that was someone I met when I was about 15. And I always looked at that person and thought, wow, at 60, after a long life and enjoying all these things, taking on a new challenge and continuing to grow. Everyone, please join me now in singing Happy Birthday to Patty. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Patty. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Nice advice. It's a good trick. Yes, it's my 30th birthday today.
So a chance to grow, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, halfway to.
You're now just growing up.
That's right. Just starting with. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Patty. Happy birthday. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with our slight delay there. We're going to head into our summer now of our speeches, and to delight us with our first speech this evening is Edwin Knight. It will be Edwin's first speech for our club, but as an experienced Toastmaster, it's actually his fifth speech in the Communication and Leadership Manual. And the speech is about vocal variety. Edwin Knight, and the speech, 3 little words. 3 little words, Edwin Knight.
Ms. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I love you. Have you ever considered how many times 3 little words have altered your life? Some of the most profound and significant times in your life be encapsulated in 3 little words. Think of, it's a boy. I'll buy lunch. And sometimes, one of the best of all, and in conclusion. One of the expressions of that variety that's always been very meaningful for me is, I'll be there. If you've ever had the experience of being ankle deep in water, and it's a weekend, and you need a plumber, I'll be there sounds very sweet when you hear it. Another scenario, it's 3 a.m. and you've just used your last quarter to call someone, that you're stranded on a dark and lonely road. I'll be there is the answer to your prayer. Son, it's my 80th birthday in September. I'll be there. Mom, I'm making a speech on Friday night. I'll be there. Jack, I don't know how I'm going to go. I'll be there. A person who knows a lot about being there is the Queen Mother, Elizabeth. In London during the Blitz, she was asked if the young princesses, Margaret and Elizabeth, would be leaving the country to save their lives. And she replied, and I quote, "The children will not leave unless I do. I shall not leave unless their father does. And the king will not leave the country in any circumstances whatever. I'll be there." 3 little words that I've had a real struggle with to express is, maybe you're right. How often have you been in an interaction? Can you imagine what our interactions would be like if we just used that phrase a little more often? Maybe you're right. And saw that other side. Marriage counselors would be out of business. We seem to be so hung up on being right, getting our own way, validating our point of view, that we lose sight of that we can have our life work or we can be right. Take your pick. Another expression that I probably listened to and heard in one form or another 1,000 times. Every time that I was faced with looking at a challenge or making a life-wrenching decision, I would ask, what do I do? And the answer would come back, your heart knows. My heart knows? What kind of answer is that? I want advice here. I want to know what to do. Tell me what to do. And the quiet, calm answer always comes back, your heart knows. Well, I rebelled against this. I kept looking for the answer in all the wrong places. to know what to do. I finally got that maybe I had to start to be a little bit more quiet. Maybe I had to start to listen. We all have the facility to want to know what to do. But how often do we stop and listen? And listen to hear that our heart knows. We can tune in, as the psychologists say, we can tune in to ourselves. Our spiritual leaders may say, turn to a higher power. Now, we can all have the capability to look within. But I ask myself, what is beyond that? There's more to it. Because when you listen, you start to hear that your heart knows when you look within. Now, when I came into this world, I wasn't given an instruction manual. I realized that at times that my life was an empty book. And I had to create the story. And I had to write all the lines. So I hope these simple words, simple, profound words, will be helpful. I'll be there to make you right, and your heart knows. Please let's pray.
Thank you, Edwin. We're glad you were here to share that speech with us. It made us think about growth and about using three words have such an impact. Everyone, take just a moment now to write a note to Edwin and share your thoughts about his speech. Our second speaker this evening has been pursuing personal growth in a lot of different ways for the last 3 or 4 years, and I think it's probably her whole life, because I think she's a person who is always growing. Sometimes unwillingly, she says, but for the most part, making those choices to grow. Lee's main goal now is to become more relaxed about challenges of life and to find more laughter in life. And in addition to Toastmasters, Lee is studying Judaism and also watercolors, very interesting. And most recently, she has taken up studying Hebrew. To share with us her 5th speech from the Communication and Leadership Manual, number 5 is, of course, Vocal Variety, Lee Glover, and How to Learn a Foreign Language. How to Learn a Foreign Language, Lee Glover.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Shalom. As a lot of you are aware, last autumn I started studying Judaism, the history, the religion, and culture of the Jewish people. But I did not know when I embarked on this project that I was going to have to study Hebrew. My Talmud study and Judaism classes started last November, but the Hebrew classes didn't start until March 14th, giving me more than enough time to build myself into a tower of terror. Luckily, it was a short tower. The reasons for my apprehension are my age, my basic insecurities, and the fact that I've never before learned a second language. To compound this threat, the fact that Hebrew does not use our familiar Latin script. It's written from right to left, and the alphabet consists of 26 consonants with a series of dots and dashes below each letter, which indicates the vowels. In addition, to help memorize a second language, English borrows quite heavily from German, Spanish, and French, which certainly increases the aha factor when learning those languages. Learning a language that's not part of the Indo-European family presents a greater challenge because of this lack of familiar words to hang a memory trick onto. However, learning an entirely new alphabet is sometimes considered helpful because you avoid the trap of pronouncing the old familiar letters in old familiar ways. For instance, the word sh, the English spell it sh, the Poles spell it s, and the Portuguese spell it as an x. So we have to avoid those traps. I've been reading a book called How to Learn a Foreign Language, which purports to make this task easy and enjoyable. And 5 of the hints they very strongly stress are something I thought I'd like to share with you tonight. The first key point is listen carefully to the teacher, then imitate, and imitate. Number 2, shed your inhibitions. Just relax and loosen up and have some fun with it. The third key point is to exaggerate the sounds when you speak them. Believe it or not, you will be closer to the correct pronunciation that way. The fourth key point is to get a tape recorder and use it constantly. The fifth key point is get a tape recorder and use it constantly. I think I'm stressing that one. Learning a foreign language is easier if we discard the idea of translating word for word. Instead, we need to learn the idea by speaking the phrase and thinking of the idea. We need to establish new thought patterns that way. Using the tape recorder, we are to ask and answer simple questions repeatedly until we're comfortable with those small store of words, and then add new situations and new phrases and building up a new vocabulary and new skills. When you learn a language as remote from English as Hebrew is, it's essential to use your imagination to find little tricks to help memorize those words. Your mind will discard those tricks once they're no longer needed. To calm the qualms, it is most important to remember that as you go on with this project, it actually becomes easier. Once you have learned about 1,000 new words, you discover that the next set of words you are learning are based on the root words of the initial 1,000 words you have learned. I find that very, very reassuring. Some helpful hints to start when learning this language. They suggest making up index cards with the foreign word on one side and the English word on the other, and turn them around like you do in elevators and waiting rooms, and just riffle through them. And they say that this is better than learning from a list, because quite often we will remember the word only in its relationship on the list. And of course, the great thing about cards is we can replace them as we no longer need the cards. 2, as much as possible, say the word out loud repeatedly. This trains your mouth, your mind, your eye, and your ear. 3, make sure to find those memory habits, something that will trigger just for you that word. 4, go for speed. Go through the index cards repeatedly until you can get the word and the phrase quickly. The last and most important rule, of course, is to relax and be gentle with yourselves. We will not always have as much success as we I like how we will not fail. We only fail, we don't try. Quite often we get off to a ground start and then hit a plateau. This plateau is simply the mind absorbing the old information before it goes on to learn the new information. I want to wish all of us, as we embark on our patterns of personal growth as we develop through life, whether it's learning to speak in public or to learn a new language, I want to wish us all Mazel Tov. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. It's a wonderful way to grow and develop is to learn a new language. It's wonderful that you're doing that. Everyone, please take 1 minute to express your thoughts to Lee about her speech. Yes, you're welcome to write notes as well. Minute seems to go by so quickly when we're trying to share our thoughts with others. Right now, we get a chance to be delighted with our third speaker tonight. John Kirby has been a member of Toastmasters since September of last year and has grown and developed in a lot of different ways to see him doing that. Presently working as a finance director at Mount St. Mary Hospital, but not for much longer. John is leaving First Canadian and Victoria, and we're very sad to see him go. He is going to have a wonderful new position, however, to take responsibility for a multi-level care facility in Kelowna. We all wish him the best. We wish you the best, John, for that. And tonight, John is going to be stepping out for us with the manual speech from the Communication and Leadership Manual, number 4 is the speech, and the speech is, show what you mean, use your gestures. Stepping out, John Kirby. John Kirby, stepping out.
Toastmaster, yes, fellow Toastmasters. Picture this, July 1994, University of Minnesota, Minneapolis. Someone's called upon to give a group presentation on a group consensus. Okay, well, okay, well, maybe my knees didn't shake that badly, but it sure felt like they did. Anyway, here is my comfort zone. And that day, I think I was over here somewhere. Tonight I'd like to thank all of you for everything you've offered me and all the support you've given me in the short time I've been here. You've helped shrink the gap between my comfort zone and where I was. Still there. I had a presentation to make in October after this fiasco in the summer, and you helped me get ready for it, and that went by. Came off very well. Think of Candace Bergen, the most for the least. With Toastmasters, it's the opposite. You get the most for the most. And I speak really to the new members of the club when I say that you need to take on new roles and begin stepping out. Step out of that comfort zone. The more you do, the more you get. So it's not the most for the least, it's the most for the most.
The more you do, the more you get. I know people probably say, gee, that Rita Mason, she's a pain. She's always phoning me. She always wants me to go to this contest, that contest. John, can you come over, help me do some programming? Just always remember, she's pushing you. She's pushing you to do more, and programming is very difficult. You've got to develop the new members while trying to keep all the veterans here busy. As my mentor Art once said, you need to feel uncomfortable, John, before you can develop. And boy, I've been in some uncomfortable situations. I think of entering contests. Art was right. I entered 2 contests. Talk to Patty. Find out how Golden Gavel, what it's done for her. It makes a big difference. It doesn't matter whether you win, whether you get a ribbon just by entering the contest. As I'm sure Art said many, many times, you automatically win. I'll tell you just a little bit about the 3-day interview process I went through. And what I like to call it is table topics from hell. Picture this. You're with a group of people you've never met before. You've got 3 tables, 6 people at a table, a candidate at each table. I saw my competition, and what they did was we sat in one chair at the table, and they rotated. We all came and sat, and then about 45 minutes later, they all got up and left, and the next group came. And all they did was sit there and ask deep, meaningful questions, trying to assess whether we were the right person for the job. And I think of table topics and the experience you get here, and that was good preparation, but it was hell. Talk about being light years away from your comfort zone. I felt like I was running a mini marathon to get to my comfort zone. I really wanted it badly. In conclusion, all I'd like to say is thanks to all of you. I've improved as a speaker in my own heart, and I think for all the new members, you can always improve and take on those new roles. Challenge yourself to step out of that comfort zone, because until you do that, you don't really grow. And as bad as it feels when you're doing it, if you're a general evaluator or for the first time or whatever, it's well worth the effort. It's Toastmasters.
Thank you, John. We are definitely going to miss you at our club, and we've definitely had the most from you and in your efforts, and we've had the pleasure of learning a lot from you. We wish you the best of luck. Once again, if everyone would like to take 1 minute to share your thoughts with John. Harvest time. It's the evaluation section of our meeting tonight. And of all the seasons of the year, autumn always brings mixed feelings. It's about change, about growth, but it's also about looking back on the summer and the spring and all the excitement and things we did in the summertime. And during autumn, the harvest is taken in, and just as the farmer takes in the harvest and evaluates the crop to see how well it did and makes decisions about next year's crop in the fields, we get a chance to do that in Toastmasters. And the autumn of our meeting gives us a chance to reflect on the harvest of ideas that we've had in the last hour or so. So to begin this, our evaluators have had a busy time tonight, and I would like to call on our general evaluator and turn control over to to Ian Woods to lead our evaluation team.
Thank you, Ms. Toastmaster. This evening, it's my pleasure to orchestrate, if I may, the general evaluation team, or the evaluation team, in order to help us all benefit by a few suggestions and some supportful comments. So now, I would like to call upon our first evaluator this evening, who is going to be, is Gordon ready? Okay. Gordon, please come forward. Please welcome Gordon. Gordon, who are you going to be evaluating tonight? Edwin? Okay. Excellent.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, especially Edwin, I thought that was a great speech. I really did. The idea of the speech, of course, was to modulate the voice, to have different volumes, different pitches, different rates of speech. And generally the quality should be a relaxed one, whatever you're doing. And I think you succeeded in that very much. The theme, of course, was great, and I need not say that you have excellent projection, good eye contact, and so on. What I did find, especially, was that the theme that you chose, the 3 words, conveyed all the intonations of speech that you wanted to get across. It's a little like Marshall McLuhan with his medium as the message. By choosing lots of phrases which went from the humorous to the everyday, to the sincere, and so on, you were able to encompass the whole range of activities. You gave us a lot of shock value, first of all, by saying, "Love you." I'm sure that must have been rather difficult to do. Very, very well done. And then, of course, you went from there into elaborating on the whole thing. And then you finished up with more serious version. Your hard nose, maybe you're right, that type of thing. So that you were able, with those, I really couldn't find any fault in the kind of volume and the pitching and the rate. I think you covered the whole range excellent. However, in deference to Art Pollard, who talks to us every now and again about evaluation, we have to put a sour pickle amongst the sandwich. And the only one I can find is that at the end, your topic was much more of a serious one, and your voice became more serious, and it ended up perhaps on a down key instead of whatever you could have done. I'm not sure what it would be, but there should have been some sort of more of an uplift. Obviously felt very, very sincerely about the subject, and it became more like the end of a sermon, should I say. Rather than an uplift and something to end up in a good way. Okay, over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Gordon. And now, Patty, would you like to give your evaluation? Please welcome Patty Buck.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Lee. Carrying her crowds here. Lee gave a wonderful speech about how to learn a foreign language. And really, if she had entitled it, how to perfect vocal variety, she would have done well with that as well. Lee's objectives tonight were to explore the use of voice, volume, pitch, rate, and quality for her speech. And I feel that you really added to this. You really made a good demonstration of the variety of intonation. Definitely the rate was steady and very pleasant and natural. And you know, this is your fifth speech compared to the first time. Your articulation has improved vastly, along with points of emphasis. I felt that if perhaps you spoke more from the diaphragm, it would have made more of an impact if you had sort of raised the volume just a little bit for those points of emphasis. Other than that, there were times throughout the speech where you did do that. Your voice scale had a good range of notes. It was very pleasant to listen to you, very musical. And one suggestion for strengthening your variety of intonation, the forcefulness of your speech, is use that tape recorder you were suggesting for listening to the other language, or listening to another language. Because when you listen to yourself giving a speech, you can find the areas where, oh gee, I wanted to put more emphasis on that particular point. Also, along with the tape recorder, there is a speaking manual. This is for all the new members. Your speaking voice, and we provide that as part of our learning package. I'm sure Lee has gone through that, but I'm sure everyone would benefit from that. Lee, a very interesting and well-expressed speech tonight, and I look forward to hearing your next one. Ms. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Patty. And now our third evaluator, which will be John. Please help me welcome John.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially John. John's challenge this evening was to bring gestures into his speech, and John certainly succeeded in doing that. The topic led itself naturally to the gestures that he used, from sitting on the chair to drawing circles to running behind the flip chart here. They all were natural gestures that the speech led itself into. I felt, John, your strengths that you demonstrated in your speech this evening were your confidence that you have when you're up here in front of the lectern, your use of humor in the speech showed a great deal of confidence. I also felt that your voice, just the natural voice that you have, is one of your strengths. It's strong and confident. I would suggest, though, that in some parts of your speech, you might find that you slowed your voice down a little bit, then it would be easier for us as listeners to follow the thread of your thoughts. With the gestures, that as you develop other topics, you may find that there are other gestures that you will want to bring into your speeches. And all of us will probably need to remember that gestures are something that we need to practice as well as the preparation and the speaking of our speech. To most of us, gestures do not come as naturally as we would like them to. So it's something to bear in mind that gestures need to be practiced. I felt this was a good speech, effectively using the gestures. I thank you, John, for leaving us with a positive, uplifting goodbye. The Toastmasters Club that you joined in Kelowna certainly will benefit from our loss. Goodbye and good luck.
And now I'd like to call upon our grammarian. Is our grammarian Darren there, please? Please help me welcome Darren.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. We had a very lively evening as far as grammar was being used. And first of all, I wish to comment about the use of the word of the day. The word of the day itself was used a lot of times by 7 people. I believe Monique, you used it the most, 3 times. Pat and John also used it twice. Myself, Bill, and Lee, and Peggy at least once. As far as creative phrases are concerned, Monique, you had a lot of creative phrases. Flurry of activity, harvest fruits with our labor, put ourselves onto autopilot. Very catchy, memorable phrases there. Bill Down had a couple too. Director of Operations for Evaluators. It makes Ian sound very important. Well, I believe that's general he was speaking about the general evaluator. Very distinguished title, I may add. Also kept energy to the bitter end, descriptive there. Lee, we had a couple of phrases, Tower of Terror, and imitate, imitate, imitate. Nothing fancy about that, but very effective, I felt, when demonstrating a point. And John, you're leaving us with a couple of memorable ones, table topics from L, and the most for the most. As far as questionable phrases are concerned, Bill, you had big time into growth. And also table topics misters. I believe the correct phrase is table topics master, no matter if the table topics master is male or female. Ian, you had a concern about whether Ms. or Madam Toastmaster is correct. Well, Ian, the correct address is Madam Toastmaster, and I believe the authority is Robert's Rules of Order. Am I right? Rules of Order? No. Could be. But Madam Toastmaster is basically the correct way of addressing. Also, I heard a couple of like tos, which are, I know some of our members think of those phrases as unnecessary. Watch those, please. Gordon, theme that you chose. Maybe a better phrase is theme you have chosen. Just a suggestion. And Patty, sort of raise the volume. Sort of another questionable item. Maybe you should watch those too. Anyway, that's my report for this evening, and Ian, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Darren. And now I call upon our fun member of the evaluation team, Shirley. Now, if you'd like to do your report from back there, Shirley, you may. Or if you'd like to do your report up here, you may too, as you wish. All right, you're going to stand back there. Please help welcome Shirley.
Now, I'm guessing on the invocation, it's about 5 minutes. Business meeting, art, like 14 minutes and 50 seconds, and it was down to 12 minutes. The introduction of Toastmasters, Table topics, evaluator, Bill, was 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I'm sorry, board also gave a table topics for 1 minute and 19 seconds. Let's back up to Darren. He gave a 1 minute Toastmaster, which was 2 minutes and 19 seconds. General evaluator, the introduction was 1 minute 59 seconds, and the break was 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Edwin, your speech was 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Lee, 6 minutes and 7 seconds, and John, 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Evaluators, Gordon, 2:51, Patty, 2:53, Joan, 2:19, and Darren, 3:26. Looks like I'm on 2 minutes.
Then, well, I shall continue with the general evaluation, and I'm going to do it in a little different order right around the table with my evaluation team. So the first member on the team, I believe, is Bill. Bill, you gave a very good table topics evaluation, and some of the words used, I just have to repeat. Very sincere, from the heart, modesty pervades. That was good. Good message, excellent call to action, and I see some beautiful growth there. Just like a strong tree who's unfurling his leaves. Next on the team was Joan. Joan, you evaluated John, and you pointed out the things that he needs to know to improve on his next season of growth. And I liked your closing comments, positive, uplifting goodbye, and a sincere goodbye from all the club members to John, because we are going to miss you. On to Gordon. Gordon was evaluating Edwin, and he brought in Marshall McLuhan, a very, very special person to my heart who touched a chord in my life. But the sour pickle in the sandwich, I thought, was the greatest analogy I have heard in a long time. Well done. My only suggestion, Gordon, is see if you can come up with a suggestion on how to do what you suggested you might want to do, such as ask for yourself to repeat the last phrase or so of his speech and give the same phrase with an uplifting beat or with a different twist to it. So just capture, when you're doing your evaluation, that last phrase, and then you can give the actual suggestion for how we can do it. And that would be great. Shirley, you were next. You gave an enthusiastic and humorous timing. It was a little lengthy, but if you cut out the first half, the rest of it is perfect. Monique, as Toastmaster tonight, what a surprise that, first of all, we have the growth of this room, and second of all, the growth of you being our star performer. The first time in 3 years to be on video camera, and that is verified by Eileen. She took the last video recording 3 years ago in May, and now you're our star performer. Congratulations, you've done a wonderful job. Next, I come on to Art, and I hope the timer's watching me. Am I at 3 minutes yet? No, okay. And Art ran a very, very good business meeting. However, he forgot a few key points, and one of them was the word immediately, or the phrase from this point on in the movement. And as chairman, I thought perhaps he could have included that in the toast motion that we made, that we were going to be adding a toast to our program so we could learn how to do toasting from this point on. At this point, we're in limbo. We don't know when to do that. We don't know when we're going to start that. So I just think that maybe we could all agree by a vote of hands. Can we start next meeting?
It's all over. It will.
Yay! Peggy, next member of our evaluation team, and I would say, because you're a parliamentarian, how to turn a negative into a positive. Wonderful. And on 2 different levels, I might suggest. Darren, the 1 minute Toastmaster in 2 minutes. Maybe there's a way that you can do it in 1 minute by handing out something. because then people don't have to write down the notes. They've got the 5 points, and they can take it home with them, put them in their Toastmaster file, and use it later on. But very good points. Your writing is showing through. How about in the newsletter? Can we have those 5 points? You want it? And as for Marion, I wish to comment. I wish to comment about something you mentioned, and again, that's just a small thing, but by and large, you captured all the great grammatical blossoms that we have. And Patty, what a wonderful room setup. I don't know how you did it, and I don't know why the red light is on, but I'm amazed that you were able to spring us from one room into this. Well, look at the canopy, a beautiful canopy. It's like under a huge garryola. And the suggestion for me of speaking from the diaphragm, well, I thought was excellent. So I would say that we have some wonderful development here. And I'm so pleased that we are now on video and we can all share it amongst ourselves and see all the boo-boos we've made. Ms. Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Well, as our meeting draws to a close and we leave here for another week, our thoughts and our ideas are going to hibernate like bears in winter. Well, growth begins with the planting of a seed or an idea. And as you plant your garden of success, remember to include 5 rows of peas, preparedness, patience, perseverance, politeness, and prayer. 3 rows of squash, squash gossip, squash criticism, squash indifference. 4 rows of lettuce. Let us be faithful. Let us be truthful. Let us be unselfish. And let us respect one another. And no garden would be complete without turnips. Turn up with a smile. Turn up with a new idea. And turn up with real determination. May your garden grow.
What a wonderful evening it's been, and thank you formally. It falls on my shoulders, Monique. And when I think about the excellent analogies I've heard over the years, the one you put forward this evening reminds me a lot of growing up in the Okanagan, where there are 4 definite seasons, and now I know there are 4 definite stages to a Toastmasters meeting. You nurtured us along throughout the course of the evening with gentle guidance. You were in control with this awesome object, and you really showed me something this evening that every time Monique does something new in the club, I see the growth in her since last September. She has a lot of determination, and that's also the quality of tending a garden too. You have to be persevering. I can't garden if my life depended on it, and even after having great lessons from my dad. But you tended the garden well, the same way an orchard just looks after their apples. We bore the fruits of your preparation, your commitment, and your hard effort, and your toils. I hope you live long and prosper as a Toastmaster. I think that's the way it's done. And thank you on behalf of the club. I understand the ballots have been passed around to Pat. There's quite a few of them this evening, so I'm going to skip ahead to our guest comments. And we do have 6 guests this evening. And our first guest I'd like to hear from is Ellen Mortimer. Ellen.
Thank you. Mr. Toastmaster, we're back.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. It's wonderful that you were back. It's wonderful to be back after 3 years. I feel embarrassed about wearing this because I have not made my maiden speech. I'm afraid I came with great enthusiasm, and certainly feel badly that I wasn't able to continue with Toastmasters at that time. I did find that teaching is an overwhelming, time-consuming thing for me. I get so involved that I tend to forget that I have a family life. And made that commitment, which is why I'm going to have to think seriously before getting involved in Toastmasters again, although I think it's a wonderful opportunity and I would love to do it after I retire. It's going to be great.
Great.
Thank you so much for having me again this evening.
Definitely great to see you again. Mark Jourdanier, you have some comments on the meeting this evening.
Well, I would like to thank you once again to all the members of the club who welcomed me here for my third time. Put a request tonight here to be a member. And enjoy all your speeches, all the wording. I can use all of that to grow myself.
Great.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to considering your application at the close of the meeting. Jennifer, what did you think of us tonight?
Well, this is my second meeting, and the first one was a speech contest, so I'm getting to see the different sides of Toastmasters. I enjoy very much the speeches given by each individual here this evening, and I'm looking forward to applying to become a Toastmaster myself someday. So, thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us. Jane Bowie, this is your first experience in the Toastmasters meeting. What do you think of us?
Last week, I was next watching in this room. You remember? I was attending a Zonta meeting, and we had a little break and went out, and I saw John and a few others doing evaluation in the hallway. And so I believe what it was all about, and she told me, and I come here and join this group. And I did come here. I'm most impressed by all of you and what I've heard tonight. I think it's a great opportunity to overcome fear. That seems to be a word which we don't like to use, we don't like to face, but which all of us at some point or another in public speaking have encountered. So this is just one of my challenges in my life right now.
Well, it was nice to have you. Peter, second meeting this evening?
My second meeting and also second application to join this board of club. I do hope I will have the opportunity. I really believe that it is a wonderful growing potential is there for my participation, and my heart knows that. So thank you for considering me.
And Patrick, did you have anything to say? Did you enjoy yourself this evening?
Yes, I enjoyed this.
Thank you. Look, we're flying fast and furious here. There's nothing I said. Or did. Are there any announcements before we get to the ballots? We'll do the announcements first. Kat?
Two announcements. First of all, thank you very much, Monique, for bringing these lovely flowers to decorate the room. It's a pleasant change. Second of all, I have 30 names for the April 27th St. George's Day dinner. I'm awaiting 15 more calls back that calls out to people. Unfortunately, Vic Lindahl will be speaking in Vancouver that night, but he will be considering the 60th anniversary. Anyway, all of the calls are out to the big long list of people we have invited, and eventually I will talk to some people, and hopefully I will get some help with follow-up calls from one or two other people in a couple weeks' time. That's it for my announcement. Mr. Chairman.
Are there any announcements, other announcements? John? Or
Actually, this is my last meeting. I think I have to pass on.
Don't pass on.
No, not pass on. Spiritually, I shouldn't pass on. the work that I did with Rita, and I hear she's also helping Monique with the newsletter. And if she can be as keen as Monique's been with everything, I think you've got a very good new member who would like to give this award to Shirley.
Thank you very much, John. For the benefit of the guests, this is the Spirit of Success Award, which was donated to Joan Trumbull. When somebody does something particularly outstanding, that member gets to choose amongst all the people and then pass the award on. So it goes throughout the year. Thank you. You have an announcement.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's an announcement I should have made a while ago. Those of you who recall Paul and Sue Sillick may be pleased and shocked to know that they are the parents of a baby boy. He's 5 years, I don't know how big he is, but his name is Ray, and it's just a delight to think of them as parents.
Yeah.
So if you know them, wish them well.
Great. That's good news. Thank you. Are there any other announcements? Pat, do you have our awards ready?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman, and I must ask your indulgence. I'm not sure how to go about handing these out, so...
Do it your way.
Do it your own way.
Go ahead.
Whichever order you want.
I'll call
You just
them out
slip the
then.
$10
Just
bill
go
in.
around.
That's right.
Slip
For
the $10
the slush
bill
fund.
in.
Slip it right back. What I'll do then is I'll just call out the winners and then give you your ribbons in a second. The best speaker this evening was voted to be Edwin. The best